Hey, beautiful beings. So today we have Steve Todd joining us. Welcome, Steve.
Welcome, Lindsay. Pleased to meet you.
So Steve is the owner of Reps Gym in Preston. So you may or may not have heard of it recently. It's been in the national press as well as the local press. So Steve, let's start at the beginning. Why did you decide to open a gym initially?
When I first got started, it was always my passion. I loved like keeping fit, the gym, the full bodybuilding side of it. So it's something I've always wanted. So voluntary redundancy came up from where I used to work. I took that money, put it into a gym, and then got started from there. That was 1987, almost 34 years ago.
Fabulous.
So, yeah.
How many years? 4 years, did you say? Sorry.
34 years.
34 years. Wow. So quite established business then.
Been going a long time. Like I said, it's me love. I actually love the gym. The people who come to it. It's just like a community. It's not one of them gyms where everybody goes in, puts everyone's in. Everybody knows each other. It's friendly. Everyone knows each other's name. They all talk. It's just a community-like experience coming to the gym. The amount of people that come in like, oh, we're scared about coming. They come in, they're like, it's brilliant. Everybody's great. Everybody talks to you. Everybody like helps you out, which is what gyms used to be years ago. But that's always the type of gym I wanted. And that's what it is now. It's great.
So, yeah, so you've been in the national press and your local press recently because you've refused to close your gym, haven't you?
I have indeed, yes.
So can you tell me the reasons why you've decided to refuse when everyone else is like having or being told to close the business?
The reason being is we do not have to shut the businesses down. The way it works in law is you've got the law of the land, common law, which basically states cause no harm, loss, fraud, breach of peace, basically cause no harm to another human being. Them are the laws of the land. Everything out under that, you've got then the government, and they bring out legislation, statutes. By their own name, they are not a law. Any statute, law, legislation the government brings out only acquires the power of law with the consent of the governed. So basically, if you work for the government, you've got to abide by that company's regulations. So you've got to abide by them. Me, as a free man, I don't. It requires my consent to go into contract with them on that particular legislation. So I went down the route. I sent a letter off to Suella Braverman, the Attorney General for England and Wales, asking her what laws I am breaking, not what statute legislation, what laws I am breaking. That was sent off over 14 days ago and no reply. I also sent off a sworn affidavit to the council, Preston City Council, asking them to show me the contract where I've gone into contract with them on this particular legislation. I finally got a reply back from them saying, regarding your affidavit, no comment. So basically what they're saying is they cannot prove I'm in contract with them. I am not in contract, never went into it. By the laws of this land, I am allowed to say keep my business open.
So did you close down through the first lockdown, or have you remained open?
I did close down through the first lockdown. Then I started studying common law, contract law, and everything else about it. But basically, you've got to look at it. Even our own, when she was Prime Minister, Theresa May said, our country is governed by consent. And it's by consent. So them are the laws of the land. I've had the police coming into me, trying to go into my gym. Sorry, lads, there's been no harm, loss, fraud, breach of peace. I need to see a warrant. You can't come into the gym. So, but they're polite. So they politely walk away, and that's the way it goes. I've had the fines. A fine is not a fine. A fine is an offer to contract. Nothing more, nothing less. The laws of our land are we are innocent until proven guilty. That is the law of the land. You cannot change that. So how, and the only way you can be found guilty in this land of ours is to stand in front of 12 of our peers, a jury, or to stand in front of a judge. You are then found guilty. Then punishment can be given to you, a fine or whatever. A police officer is not judge, jury, executioner all in one. He cannot come up to you and say, in my eyes, you are guilty, here is a fine. It doesn't work like that. It is not lawful. It is not just. So basically what they're offering you is, please take this contract, go into contract with us, and if you do, will you pay us £200? And if you pay early, we'll give you a special 50% discount. We'll charge you only £100. It's totally and utterly nonsensical. It is not the law.
So when you receive your first fine, because I haven't received any fines, but when you receive your first one, then it gives you that option to accept it.
What you've got to do when you first see a police officer, what they're trying to do is get you to go into contract with them. So the police officer will come. Police officers have two hats he wears. One of them is a police constable. He's standing under his oath of office, and he is basically preventing crime. The other hat he wears is a policy enforcement officer, a police officer. What he's then doing is working to get money out of you. When they do that, they will try whatever they can to get money out of you. But it's not lawful. So what they will do is they'll come up to you and say, what is your name? They're trying to get you into contract. If you don't want to go into contract with them, what you've got to say is, you don't say, I'm refusing to give you my name. If you do that, they can lock you up. They can lock you up for 23 hours, 59 minutes, well within their rights, and then they can let you go. It's much easier, give them your name, but what you say is, the person's name is, like for myself, will be, the person's name is Stephen Todd. The person's address is, whatever address it is. The person's date of birth is, whatever. You have not then gone into contract with them. Also, what they will try and get you to say is, do you understand? Well, under legalese, the language of the law society, what that means is, do you stand under me? So you say, sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about. So you politely give them your details. Probably a week later, you will get the fine, offer to contract through the door, and you can politely get rid of it. It's very easy. I've got all the information. You just write across it, do not wish to consent. I've got all the paperwork. I can send it all through to you, and you can politely turn it down. You may get it up to 3 times in total. Send it back exactly the same way 3 times, as if by magic, it just goes away.
Wow. So for yourself, like, does it not just get sort of like a bit boring after a while? Just like constantly having to say the same thing and do the same thing.
The thing is, the law is with us, the people. We just forgot about it. We never studied it. I've studied it now for quite a long time now. But like I said, if you take the fear of the fine away, offer to contract away, there is no fear. What have they got over us? If we take that fear of the fine away from us, it's gone. We can do what we want, provided we don't hurt another human being. Fine, carry on with your business, do whatever you so wish. But you've got to abide by them rules. You've got to send it back to the letter, as they say.
So in terms of common law, just in case people are watching this and they're like, I've got no idea what he's talking about, what is this other law that there is? How would you describe that to people, or where would they start to find this information for themselves? You start off
at the top. You've got natural law. Basically, that is cause no harm to another human being. After that, you've got underneath that, you've got common law. Common law breaks it down into cause no harm, loss, fraud, a breach of peace. So basically, you don't harm another human being. That works with equity to make it a very fair system. Underneath that, you've got the government. They bring out the statutes, legislation. Everything from that point on then is purely statute legislation. It requires the consent of the governed to acquire the power of law. That is the only way it gets the power of law, is with our consent. It is not law. It is purely contractual.
I think that's probably the simplest way I've heard it being described yet.
The easiest way to look at it is, imagine McDonald's came out and said, everybody in the country has got to wear a McDonald's hat. It's the law, statute legislation. Would I wear one? No, I wouldn't. Why not? Because I don't work for McDonald's. The government bring out statute legislation. Do I have to follow it? No, I do not work for the government. If you work for the police, work for the council, you work for the government. You have got to abide by them statute legislations. Me as a free man, I don't have to abide by them statute legislations. It is my choice to do so.
So it's just like to clarify, you're not going to wear a McDonald's hat then?
Not, can't say I'm a big fan of McDonald's, but that's another story. But it's the wording of how it's all put out. The government will say all businesses must close on the government website. But when you look at the word must in their language, which is called legalese, it's the language of the Law Society. I'm sad I actually bought a copy of Black's Law Dictionary. And if you actually look in that particular book, it says the word must means may. So what they're saying in their language is all businesses may close. It is our choice. I chose not to do. I chose to keep my business open and provide, like I said, somewhere for the people to come with mental health problems, whatever, just to offload, just meet up with people, just get rid of the problems. That's what it's all about. We've all got to come together.
Definitely. And I think it's really important, isn't it? Like, you know, people say, oh, go out for an hour's walk, which is very different to being in a gym, isn't it? And that sort of exercise. So do you want to just share a bit about sort of like how you're supporting people like with their mental health as well? Because somebody sent a poem as well, didn't they, to you?
He did, yeah. I've had so many stories. I've had the local press was down on Friday. They came down and they were talking to one of the lads who's just come down to the gym, and he had to cut his friend down. He hung himself. And he cut him down and he spent 20 minutes on CPR on him. The paramedics arrived. They finally managed to bring him back to life and everything. He got in touch with Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury sent him a video, and that went to the Lancashire Post about trying to keep his just keep happy and all the rest of it. And it's just so sad. I've got a young girl who actually rung me this morning, texted me this morning, sorry, and said, could I come down to the gym? I've joined them on local gyms. It's all closed. I'm partly autistic. I'm sat at home. I'm going out of my mind. I said, just come down. It's free of charge. Don't bother about it. Just come into the gym. Just use it. I said, it's there. I said, we've all got to sit together. I said, if you feel that bad, come down and the gym's there available for you. I had one lady who texted me. She said, I wish I was closer. She said, my son's lost his job. He said his only passion was just going to the gym. He said, all he does all day now, he sits in his room, just sits on his bed and just totally utterly depressed. It's not right. That's not the way it should be. 12 months ago, it was all over the press. Mental health problems, mental health problems. What's happened? It's like someone's pressed the pause button on it. It's just like it disappeared. Virtually everybody in my gym, I can say, it might not be them, but they'll know someone who's either tried to top themselves. They're virtually at the wit's end. They're ready for just like putting an end to it. It's wrong. These are the young people in our society. I know COVID, it's very sad for people who have lost people with COVID, but the average age of someone who dies of COVID is 82.4 years of age. These are the young people in our society, and we're just ignoring them. It's wrong, so wrong. Like I said, you said about the poem. I got the poem here. I got off the.
Can you read that out, please?
I'll read it out. Yes, it's called "Prisoner of the Mind," and it was, "Prisoner of the mind. Yes, that's me. Locked away for nobody to see. Locked down and far away. Looks normal to me, though my mind's astray. You see, I'm locked away inside of my own mind. And even though there is no key, I still have hope that somebody will come and rescue me. Sat here in the darkness, I feel all alone, though I'm surrounded by family and friends while at home. They think I'm bright because they can see the light, but they can't see in my mind it's always night. Nobody really knows what I'm thinking. Happy on the outside, but inside I'm sinking. Sinking back and further away into a pool of distress and disarray. Yet my mind keeps ticking with thoughts of being free, but the reality is this can't ever be. Because the doctor tells me that I suffer from depression, I think that's just another word but life's teaching me a lesson. I know one day it will be my time to shine. My inner mind will break free and all will be fine. But until this happens, and until such a day, locked inside of my mind is where I'll stay. But that basically says it all. When people are just that depressed, we've got to do something.
Oh,
So
definitely.
I'm making a stand. Like I said, anybody with any mental health problems, just come down. The gym's there. Just offload, have a workout, just get rid of your problems.
Yeah, I know, and definitely I know there's a lot more people have been saying that this lockdown is so much harder than the first. I think the first one, it felt like a bit like a novelty, you know, people like, oh, I don't get to go to work. And people felt, my feeling is that people felt that there was hope that, you know, it would be maybe a couple of months and it wouldn't last that long. And then I think the vaccination, some people were like, that's the answer, that's given us hope. And now it's like, well, you get the vaccination and you still have to be in lockdown. So I think this lockdown, people don't have that hope that they maybe had last year. You know, they've done their house, they've done their garden, they've done all the external stuff. And like you said, I think they're just now sat there, just not knowing like what to do. So I think having some sort of like having the gyms open at least, do you know what I mean? To start, you know, and like you said, I think, I can't remember if it was in the Facebook post or in the paper, you know, your gym's spacious, you know, people can they can still socially distance if they want, you know, and be so far apart, you know, and still come and exercise. And really, like you said, it helps their mental health. So if there's any gym owners, if you like, who are watching this, who have had to close their gym, what sort of advice would you give to them?
Yeah, just like I said, if you want to get in touch with me, feel free. If you want to put me, I'll give you my email address later on. You can put it at the bottom. You can get in touch with me. I can run through the process of how they can get the businesses back open again. But like I said, end of the day, the choice is with you. It is not a law. It is a statute legislation. By its own definition, it is not a law. Mm-hmm. So, and if you take the fear of the fines away and offer to contract, if you know you can get rid of them because they're not lawful. So it takes the fear away. Hopefully, more will start standing up. And end of the day, our rights were given to us. People fought for the rights of this country, and we're just giving them away. The reason that the freedom to talk, to march, to protest, to open your business, what happened to us? We're giving them rights away. People fought wars to give us them rights. People in China would die to give them their children the rights that we have. And we're there just bending over and giving them away. It's just absolute disgrace.
Yeah, no, I agree. We definitely need to stand up for our businesses and for our children and future generations as well. The phrase that keeps coming in my mind, there's a guy that I watch on YouTube called Ralph Smart. And one of his phrases is, "We ain't having it." And I'm like, I'm having that phrase, you know, because it's such a good phrase to just be like, "We ain't having it." Do you know what I mean? And we have to, like you said, we have to stick together, you know, and go out there and, you know, speak to people and share what we know in order to help them, you know, whether it's with their mental health or whether it's, you know, helping them to reopen their businesses, because, you know, the impact financially as well for people is just massive.
Well, it's like the government are now saying this is going to be the worst recession 300 years. The employment rate is what, 5% now, highest it's been for God knows how. It's an utter disgrace. We're talking of a disease that is not even in the top 20 killers out there. I mean, what we're doing, we've got to get this into perspective. If there is a problem, like I said, if you're old and vulnerable, fair enough, isolate, keep indoors, all the rest of it. But the young and fit amongst our society should be getting on with our lives.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. It really is so wrong.
Yeah, I was quite shocked yesterday because someone sent me a link to a government website about the number of deaths that had occurred in the UK. And it was actually really interesting because when you start to look, you can find the information that you need for yourself. And there was actually 2,000 less deaths in 2020 than there'd been in 2018. So it's like, as a population, how can there have been more deaths? You know, it doesn't make sense. So it's like about, and you do have to become a bit of a detective with this, don't you? You have to question everything, and you have to do the research for yourself, because I can say what I want to say and you can say what you want to say, but unless the person starts researching for themselves and finding the numbers and the facts, they're just going to believe what they're seeing on the mainstream media, which is a load of rubbish, isn't it? So
end of the day, like I said, it's unfortunate people die. 1,600 to 1,700 people die, according to the government website, on average per week. Like you said, it's no higher now than it was this time last year. It's just people die in flu season. I lost my own granddad to flu probably 15 years ago. Fortunately, it does happen. The old and vulnerable in our society will succumb to certain illnesses. That's just the way it is. If like I said, it's everybody's right. If they don't agree with me, I have no problems whatsoever. It is that, like I said, our rights are our rights. We've got to stick up for them. If they want to sit at home, wear a mask, drive around the car in a mask, I have no problems with that. That is their right to do so. But my right as well is also to go to open my business and do what I want to do, provided I'm causing no harm to anybody else. And that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, fabulous. Well, thank you very much, Steve, for coming on and talking to me about your business. And, you know, I am sure your business will stay successful. You know, you're going to be getting, and especially, you know, like, people will need that support and that help. Yeah. And, you know, if you're there offering that, that's a service which is really needed in society. And like you said, it's being ignored, you know, the whole mental health aspect. Nobody's talking about it, which is really frustrating, because there are people out there who are really, really struggling. So thank you for staying open and staying true to yourself and being a detective and, you know, find out all that information. So I hope you managed to, like, I hope there's people watching this who feel inspired and are like, you know what, I need to learn this and I'm going to reopen my business.
Yeah, that's what we need. That's great. Lovely talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.